Oh my god, that confused the hell out of me. Somebody speak?
Hello.
Yo.
Yo. Good evening and welcome to Mark Can't Find Where the Audio's Coming From UK. It's going really well. Literally 10 seconds before he hit the music, he was like, I can hear everything all the time.
And
I'm getting like moved more and more further across on the camera mat.
oh, we didn't set your bounds.
Oh no.
Oh, Jono.
So, as you can see, we've had to change things up a bit. There's 5 spaces.
Jono.
So,
Jono.
Yeah.
Chandler.
No, you scale to inner bounds. You are.
I'm not.
Fucking are.
No, I'm not.
Right. So we do have a guest on tonight. No, it's not CJB. It's not going to be Chris.
Yeah, I keep saying like this all fucking night.
What's going on?
It's so good. Yeah, so basically, Chandler's going to be joining us. He's on late tonight, so he will be eventually joining us. We also have Paul from Australia. He is going to be joining us around the same sort of time as Chandler. Although Jono's completely disappeared now, so it's going really well.
You can still hear me.
But they can still hear you, yeah. So there will be 5 of us on the show. It's going to be a complete clusterfuck. But I'm really looking forward to having Paul on because we're going to be talking a lot about various things that have been going on. Yeah, that's it. LabWorks Paul. He's been on the show before. I think it's like 5 a.m. for him right now. It's something crazy. If anyone knows what time it is in Australia, that's where he's at.
5 o'clock. He'll be joining us at 6 o'clock.
So he's going to be up very, very early. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. How are we doing, guys? We had a good week. Chat, have you guys had a good week?
I've had an amazing Monday. Weekend, amazing.
Oh yes, talk to us about
that. I'm pretty sure the majority of the guys know because they came over from Friday. But yeah, from Friday night, I started at 7 o'clock. And did a 24-hour charity stream. It was just pure gaming for 24 hours. Trying to raise money for my local children's hospital. My local hospital's children's ward.
Oh, I see. It's all changing now. Now you've got the money. It's all changing. I see how it is.
Yeah, but yeah, you know me. You know me. Big swindler.
Yeah.
But,
we're all going to the pub, right?
Martin, thank you very much for the follow down. So yeah, we wanted to. I started the target at 250, but then because I wanted more beer, I changed it to 300. So, well, no, it was for a console for the kids, for the children's ward, and we got to 7. We got to about. In fact, it was 7 o'clock. We did the 24 hours, but we didn't hit target. So I says, right, after this game, if we haven't read, I'll keep going till 10 o'clock if we reach 300, and we actually exceeded that. So,
is your Just Giving page still up?
It is.
So,
should I get a link?
Yeah, I think if you didn't catch this eye-wateringly long stream, we're going to stick the link to it in the chat now. And if you are feeling beautifully generous, this doesn't go to us. This goes directly to Jono's Just Giving page. Drop a bit of money because it's going to help some kids have a bit of fun whilst they're having a shitty time in hospital, basically.
Good evening, Mr. Martin. Good to see your breasticles as usual.
Oh, has he already sent you a picture?
I've just realised I've not had a beer yet today. What's that all about?
So that is the link for the charity. Well, I'll say it's charity. It's going straight into my bank account. And me, Mark, and Cass are going out on the piss. So,
to be fair, you're likely to get more money by saying that.
Yeah. Do you know how much Diet Coke I can buy with like 500 quid?
Say, neither of you drink. I'm going to have an awesome fucking night.
I'll tell you what, I ain't looking after you. Fuck that. I ain't carrying you to a taxi.
I don't need no looking after. I'm a big boy, me.
I'm pretty sure we can spare 15 quid out of the fund just to get a wheelbarrow for you. Just so we can...
What, just to fill with beer?
Yeah, obviously.
Good, man.
But yeah, so we actually hit target by 7:10, I think it was. So thank you, Mark, for for upping the ante, and all you guys who came in for your love and support. It were absolutely amazing. Cass donated, all the guys donated, and it were absolutely fantastic. So now I can actually buy a computer console for the sick kids. And take it to the hospital down for them.
No, they're not like sick kids, yeah? They're like sick kids.
Poorly kids.
Poorly kids.
Yeah. Ill. But not the illest, because that's different again.
So we actually exceeded it, and we got to £346, so there's definitely going to be some happy children there.
Definitely. What time did you start flagging?
Before anyone says anything, Rolf is not having anything to do with this, so the kids are definitely safe. Okay.
Fair comment.
Yeah. Right. 24, 27 hours is a long time. What time did you start going? Actually, I'm really fucking tired now.
Do you know what? It was actually. It got to 4-5 o'clock Saturday morning. And usually when I break that barrier, I can just keep going and keep going.
Yeah.
It got to about 6:30 and I started feeling it a bit, but then it was just the boost and everything. And yeah, I did break down. It was emotional and, I couldn't believe we did it, but it was just amazing. And it was just all thanks to you guys, like coming together and showing your support and everything. And it was fantastic.
You know what?
I was so overwhelmed.
I spent Friday evening he hadn't got any energy drinks, and I was trying to get energy drinks delivered to his house.
Amazing.
Didn't happen.
That's brilliant.
Mark in for the long run. Like, come on, Jono, let's sort this out now. He says, I can't get them delivered. It's like, don't worry, I'll be fine. But I powered through, and God bless my wife, Deanna. She went out when she woke up at 7:30. She went out down to the corpse. Says, "Can you look after the little legs for a minute?" Yep, not a problem. I had 5 minutes with him. She went down to Corp, got me a load of energy drinks, and came back, and a load of food as well, just to keep me going. But yeah. Anyway, what we're vaping on tonight, lads?
I'll start. I've dug my Berserker out of the depths of my vaping drawer, and in that, I have got the Element NS20 Watermelon Chill, which I'm actually really enjoying. It was always one of those flavors that I was like, I don't remember ever liking that flavor. And I know Mark's going to make some snarky comment about watermelon, but but I've stuck it in this, and actually, it's not the shittest. And I've got that on the Squid Industries double barrel, which is perfect. I've had one set of batteries all day and it's doing well. Hi Jesse, I'm doing fine. Thank you very much.
How you doing? He's a single guy now, you know. Oh shit! Sorry, I just clutch down, brain into gear, open mouth. No, not me. Foot straight in.
Yeah. calm yourself, Mark. Calm yourself. Only me and him know why that's funny. Oh.
Anyway,
Anywho.
Mark, what are you vaping on? Foot out of mouth.
me, I last week I was saying that I wasn't overly sure about pistache.
Hmm.
I've changed my mind.
You hate it?
No, I'm actually really enjoying it, and that
Thoroughly enjoying
that
it.
bottle is going down far too quickly.
Good colour of it now. It's like iron,
Yeah,
bro.
as soon as that started to turn, awesome.
God, I love that colour.
Yeah.
That's just reminded me I need to check on my stash. Yes,
So yes, pistache, Reaper, or whatever the box is called, I can't remember.
Danny box.
Danny box, 12 milligram. In that, this evening from our sponsors, Pilgrim Vapes. Custom mouth to lung wire, awesome for your mouth to lung. Tanks, Atties, RDAs. Damn it, you can even put it in your grandmother. Yeah, that's that. I have just rewicked the slam piece and the money shot. And I'm still blasting my way through pre-TPD.
Game over.
Game over. Look, like 2 milligram.
Nice.
2 milligram. Oh, what is that all about, fam?
That 2 milligram life, though, bro.
Is it, though? Is it? It is a grower. It is a grower. I wasn't sure for a start, but I was. Grandmother sleeping is the secret. I was flipping between 2 different juices on it. As soon as I'd run out of whatever it was, the no cigar, and I was 100% on the pistache, then that was when I took to it. I've not finished. Have I not finished it yet? Christ, do you know how long it take me to vape 120 mil? A long time. Another few pennies for you, Jono, from Dale. Thank you, Dale.
Oh, mate.
There we go. Thank you.
Wow.
Mate, don't make him cry again, for fuck's sake.
Mate, I haven't done a 24-hour stream. No, but Dale, seriously, thank you. Thank you very much.
That's awesome. I now have to go look.
No, he definitely did.
No, cheers, Dale. That's seriously, it will go a long way.
Fuck.
Yeah, with the
Good job.
It's the money shot, not the money box, and it's certainly not Chandler's.
Grim, but okay.
No, you remember the whole money box.
Oh, can you imagine if you overdripped? Oh.
What? Oh, anyway, John, what you vaping on?
Tesla drop dead cloud lemonade. Move on.
What?
Is that it?
Literally, mate. That's all I've been vaping. But no, cloud lemonade with a cold shot. It's I am actually going to experiment because I'm going to try the orange soda with a cold shot. I'm going to give it a blast throughout this
Hope
week.
it don't choke you.
Wow. It just seems very appealing.
Really. Anyway,
Are we going straight into the news?
I was
Let's get
just
into
about
news.
to go for something. I'd got a really good point lined up that we could talk about. And it's gone now.
It's gone.
Yes. So we have joining us this evening, Paul. Wrong hole. We've got Paul joining us again this evening. Now we also have another very, very, very special guest joining us. Now, unfortunately, not this evening, may I add. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a live show at the usual time because of time differences. No clues there. But we do have a very, very special show lined up, hitting you in the next couple of weeks. So keep your eye open for that. It's going to be...
What we'll probably do is actually record the show and then feed it out to you at a normal sort of time, just because then. But what we'll do is we'll be here in the chatting to everyone, but the show itself won't be live. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because otherwise it'll be like, I don't know, 2 p.m. on a Saturday or something stupid. Like, yeah. So you will get to see the full show, but just it's not going to work out that we can do it at this normal time.
But no, it's going to be a great show. It's going to taste great.
If we hit 10,000 bits this show, we'll tell you what's going on.
We won't.
No, we will, because then they'll give us 10,000 bits, and then we'll just say that we won't tell them.
News time.
So, it's all the same bullshit in the news. I mean, it is and it isn't. So, adding on to this vaping-related malarkey, a seventh person has died from a vaping-related illness in the US. The 40-year-old man from California died over the weekend after battling a severe lung disease for several weeks. Dr. Karen Hort, the Tulare County Public Health Officer, said, "With sadness, we report that there has been a death of a Tulare County resident suspected to be related to severe pulmonary injury associated with vaping." The first death was identified as related to vaping around last month. And in July, a person in Oregon who had recently used vapes contained cannabis oil had died. So another death was reported on September 6th by health officials in Indiana, who said the patient was over 18 and had a history of e-cigarette use. Now, normally when you say someone had a history of enter here use, they normally talk about things like heroin or crack cocaine. But I've never heard of anyone being described as having a history of e-cigarette use. So I take issue with that point. Anyway, it says the Minnesota Department of Health announced on the same day that a patient had died in August from a lung disease associated with vaping THC. The last 2 weeks, 2 deaths were announced in Los Angeles County and Kansas. So a seventh person has died, and they're still relating to it. They're still talking about it as a vaping-related illness. Not an illegal THC-related illness. It's still a vaping-related illness. So they still aren't listening. So it says the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is investigating 380 confirmed or probable cases of the vaping-related illness in 36 states, plus the U.S. Virgin Islands. And on Monday, the agency has said it has activated emergency operations to coordinate the investigation. While the cases have not yet been linked to a specific product or ingredient, health officials have urged consumers to quit vaping altogether. Health investigators are trying to establish whether a particular toxin or substance is being added into the products, including marijuana, and whether it stems from heavy usage. It also says that the CDC is urging consumers to buy or to avoid buying vaping products on the street using marijuana devised oil with the products or modifying a store-bought vaping product. Anyone who has breathing problems after vaping, such as a dry or unproductive cough, should see a doctor. British health experts have also raised concerns, but Public Health England has said they're not aware of any similar incidents in the UK. Vaping has been recommended to smokers trying to quit nicotine, and they claim to be up to 95% less harmful. So, yeah, apparently now, if you're a vapor, you have a history of e-cigarette use, which I take issue with it being said in those terms. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think that's necessarily right. And off the back of that, Public Health England have basically hit back, and they just said, this is another article, they said they've spoken out amid calls for vaping to be banned, and reports of the vaping-related deaths But the PHE responded on Twitter by saying, despite the risks, vaping is safer than tobacco and more effective in helping people quit than willpower alone. Their quote is, our advice on e-cigarettes remains unchanged. Vaping isn't completely risk-free, but is far less harmful than tobacco. This is what they've always said. This was their latest update last year, and they're sticking by it, which is lovely to see. They're not jumping on the hype train, and they're sticking with it. There is no situation where it would be better for your health to continue smoking rather than switching completely to vaping. All UK e-cigarette products are tightly regulated for quality, and it is important to use UK-regulated e-liquids and never risk vaping homemade or illicit e-liquids or adding any substances which could be harmful. The sooner you stop smoking, completely the better. And it goes on to talk more and more about. Now, this is the next section of this. It says President Donald Trump said he will back a federal ban on thousands of e-cigarette flavors, but the head of tobacco control said there is a clear distinction between vaping in the US and in the UK. I'd like to know what that distinction is. Oh, apparently he's about to tell me. So unlike in the US, all cigarette products are tightly regulated, and they operate the yellow card scheme, encouraging vapers to report any bad experiences. They don't have that in the States. Moving on. It just gets slightly more depressing. There's no good news at the moment in vaping, unfortunately. This is from CNN. So this is an American article. The way you vape could make it even more dangerous, apparently. So it says, in the wake of these deaths and confirmed cases of lung disease, the Trump administration has called for banning because of their huge appeal to young people. And the Center for Disease Control is looking closely at the different nicotine-flavored e-liquids. The mystery and concern remain, and many smokers who use these devices to quit are concerned that a valuable tool may be taken away from them. There's much more than researchers need to know, and these devices have a short history. As an engineer who studies how people use tobacco products, this is the guy writing it, I believe that the user's behavior is key to understanding the positive and negative health effects resulting from e-cigarettes. After all, their intent was to help people stop smoking, the number one cause of preventable death in the US. The way users puff, how long they puff, and what they puff all play a role. Yet we do not know how this behavior affects how much of each substance vapers consume over the course of their daily lives, but we have reason to believe it is significant. And that's kind of where the relevant information ends. They don't tend to go on to say why they think it's relevant. They don't really even back it up properly. They just think, well, it's got to be bad, so we're going to say that it is until otherwise proven.
Yeah. Surely it has been proven, hasn't it?
I would have thought so.
Badger, hold that thought. Hold that thought.
Yes, indeed. Bear with.
Oh.
So now we may have some culprits. This badly titled article says, were the two brothers from Wisconsin the Walter Whites of THC oils? The drug bust shattered the early morning stillness of this manicured subdivision in southwestern Wisconsin. The police pulled up outside a white shuttered brick condo, jolting neighbors out of their beds with the heavy thud of banging on a door. What they found inside was not crystal meth or cocaine or fentanyl, but slim boxes of vaping cartridges labeled with flavors like strawberry, peaches, and cream. An additional 98,000 cartridges lay empty. 57 mason jars nearby contained a substance that resembled dark honey, THC-laced liquid used for vaping, a practice that is now at the heart of major public health scares sweeping the country. So vaping devices which have soared in popularity have been linked with the last several deaths over the last couple of months to nearly 400 illnesses, but this is a way to consume nicotine and THC. Let me just skip that. There we go. So the bust this month in Wisconsin, where THC is illegal, offers an intimate look at the shadowy operation serving a large number of teenagers and adults around the country who are using black market vaping products, sometimes unknowingly because it's difficult to tell them apart from legitimate ones. When we walked in there, we were like, oh boy, said Captain Dan Bauman of the Waukesha Police Department. This is where we were looking for, but we did not know it was this big. Key players in the operation, authorities said, were the brothers, barely into their 20s, Jacob and Tyler Huffhines, who lived in a small town nearby, and both are now in custody. More arrests and charges in the case are likely to follow, according to the police. Now, investigators have not determined whether there's a connection between the Wisconsin operation and any cases of severe lung diseases, but public health officials across the country say that street-made vaping products should be avoided by all consumers and pose the greatest health risk. Vaping works by heating liquid, yada, 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 and the original intent was to give smokers a way to satisfy their nicotine. Yeah, there we go. So they've basically caught two guys that could be responsible for all of it, or some of it, or none of it, or we don't know. But they've definitely made some arrests. They've definitely found some THC cartridges, and they found a lot of empty ones, 98,000 of them, which is quite worrying.
They're going to be used as scapegoats, aren't they? They're going to make an exhibition of them, whether it was them or not.
Yeah, they will make an example of them. Because they can't exactly use the excuse saying, "Oh, I was holding this for a friend."
Yeah, the mason jars of thick treacle like honey is kind of a self-incriminating, really, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah. It's mental. It's mental. But whether it's true or not, I mean, maybe they're going to go, well, we caught him. That's it. Game over. We need to stop looking now. Let's blame vaping again. I don't know. But I think if it turns out that it is an illicit drug operation causing all of this, then it kind of clears vaping's name to a certain degree.
Mm-hmm. Until the Trump administration grab hold of it. Did we see New York's about to kick in? I don't want to talk too much about this because I know Paul's got quite a lot of information for us. So bear with me. Lost it. So obviously there's Michigan. Florida's discussing a ban. As well as New York.
Yeah, that was the one that intrigued me the most, actually, in New York, because you never really think of New York having much of a vaping scene.
No.
You say that. I said the gentleman who's joined us tonight. We had a brief discussion about he was actually using a Juul, and I says, that obviously they are the enemy. It's owned by big tobacco. Blah 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 blah. Says, what were you using before? And I actually brought out a device, and it was an ice stick with the Nautilus. Is it the first Nautilus where it was like all glass?
Yeah.
With the metal, yeah. Brought that one. I was just like, man, that is, why did you stop using it? It was like, don't know. But then he was saying like, I think it was his sister's boyfriend or husband, something like that. So I think he said that he had a rig. Now, to me and you, when we say rig, we automatically think mech tube.
Mm-hmm.
But what he actually meant was that he had a rig, as in like a setup.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but it was just like, it was like massive clouds, etc. And, so just from that, I'm thinking it actually goes, I think it does, just talking to one person, it does actually go a bit further than what we think.
Yeah. Oh no! I mean, I had a friend of mine who runs a small vaping company here in Norfolk. He makes a very successful little local juice company, and he went out to the States. And when he got back, I said, "Was anyone vaping?" He goes, "I didn't see any vape shops in my entire time out there, and I didn't see anyone vaping." And that was in New York City.
Wow.
Yeah, he didn't see anyone vaping out there, and he didn't come across any vape shops, which is why, to me, you never hear juice being from New York. It's always from California or San Francisco or Florida or wherever it is.
Well, this is what he said. He says, he buys his juice in bulk because it's about, I'm sure he said it was like half-hour drive to like the nearest store, and I was like, that's crazy.
Mm.
I mean, is online shopping completely gone?
I don't know whether that many people are using online shopping for general everyday vaping.
They're not.
You might do it to buy a new. I don't see it personally that much. A lot of people, if they're buying a new mod or they're buying a setup or they're buying tanks, yeah, they'll buy online. But when it comes to juice, they'd rather just go into a shop and ask someone about it. It's hard to gain an idea of what a juice is like from looking at it on a website.
Stuart's just said, so many people vaping in the UK now. At car boots I go to, everyone vapes. Hardly see anyone smoking, to be honest. You know what? I agree. I don't see... Oh, hang on a minute, JB. No. Yeah, you hardly see anyone smoking. At all.
Mm.
It's mainly vapors.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see a lot more vapors now than smokers. I mean, when I worked at DHL, you actually, I know this is going to sound like a bad comparison, but when you're involved in something, you kind of notice it more. So it's like when I were at DHL, I saw yellow vans everywhere, wherever I went, and I noticed, and you pick up on it straight away. But if I didn't work there, I wouldn't think anything of it. But it's like your mind triggers and you think, oh, that guy's vaping,
No.
and you start to see it a lot more.
You see, I notice smokers more. Maybe it's my advocacy brain that kicks in, but I notice smokers a lot more.
I'm not saying that they're non-existent, but I'm seeing a hell of a lot more vaping to smoking ratio that I'm seeing. Whether it's more noticeable with massive clouds of smoke, it's not smoke, vape. You know what I mean?
But it's like Chris just said, right? When I bought my car, all I saw was my car everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's like something in your mind that triggers. It's like, oh, hang on a minute, I've got that.
Yeah. It's a matter. I never realised that many of my car were in the town that I live in. It's like, how did I not see these? Yeah, there are a lot of smokers about. And there's a lot of people with this news. I still get people. I've had 3 people today come in and go, oh, this vaping thing's not good for you anymore, is it? And it's like, well, how is it suddenly not good for you anymore?
What did they do? Just come in to troll you?
I don't know.
No, they were buying stuff for other people. Most of them. I even had one person yesterday say, yeah, I'm buying some stuff for my boyfriend. I used to vape, but I read all this news and I decided that, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, you shouldn't you just don't listen to it. It's come and talk to us. Come and talk to someone who is aware of what's going on and can provide you with a bit more, information. But yeah, it's affecting things. It is affecting things in the UK. Yes, people aren't getting ill in the UK, but the news travels fast. And people listen to it.
But Badger, do you see 1 in 10? Do you see one 10ml bottle on the floor for every 10 dog ends you see?
No.
Don't know. I don't look for them.
I mean, I saw a post about was it someone was talking about wastage? I think it might have been John on the iOS group, and it was someone saying, "Oh, you don't see, someone was out on a dog walk. That was it, and they found a jewel pod in the park on the floor, and they were like, "Well, rebuilders don't seem to leave that much waste behind." I get it, and it's about recycling as much as possible. It's about being kind, but yeah, you don't see 10ml bottles on the floor. No, I don't think I've ever seen a 10ml bottle on the floor from vaping.
I have.
I've seen a few. But I think that's due to more because in line of work that I do with delivering to building sites, they don't have bins, do they? They just chuck it anywhere.
You see, to be
not bothered.
To be fair, when you were a smoker, did you used to just flick your fag end on the floor?
Not if I could find a bin.
Not exactly.
I know.
Nail on head right there.
I never used to. I never used to flick them out the window. I'd always find somewhere to put it. I never.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever smoke at home when you lived with your mum?
Yeah.
Yeah, I smoked in my flat in London.
Did they know though?
Yeah.
Oh well, my mum and dad didn't, so it was the bedroom window for me. And then luckily there were like a 10-foot drop on the other side of the wall, so I had to have a very extended and very precise flick.
Yeah, no, my parents didn't know until I was about 17, 18, and I just didn't ever smoke anywhere near the home. I would do it on the way home from school, or I'd do it on the way to school, or I would just do it when I got a car. I would just do it in my car. Like, it is what it is. I mean, don't get me wrong. It would be disingenuous for me to say that I'd never flicked a butt out the window or stomped it out on the street. I have. If I could find a bin, I could put it somewhere. And what didn't help is that where I lived in London, because there were police all over Islington, it was an 80 quid fine if you got caught stubbing one out on the floor. It just wasn't worth the risk. And they would wait for you outside the shop that you just stubbed it outside of to give you the ticket.
Yeah.
Mm.
That one.
So, pretty crazy.
Maybe I was just considerate. You know, I've never been one for littering, whether it be spitting chewing gum on the floor, dropping a fag packet on the floor. I used to flick them into the bushes and shit. That's just weird.
Jerry's trolling because his jelly that he ain't on.
No, he says he used to flick them into the bushes and shit.
He said he used to stub them out in the eyes of orphans.
Oh, that's fine. But to flick them into a bush,
Poor Bush.
flick them into a bush and then take a shit, it's just weird.
Not simultaneously.
Oh, okay, one after the other.
Yeah. That's one way to put it out.
Well,
Just take a
all
dump
right,
on top of it.
Used to throw my use. Okay, maybe I am guilty of that one.
Wipe with them first.
Yeah.
You'd have to be pretty drastic to wipe your butt with wipe your butt with a butt.
I got a £60 fine off my local council, so it was always a bin after that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
the same. You don't just flick you
Yeah, you used to get on the spot fines, didn't you?
You don't
Yeah.
flick your condoms in the high street, for God's sake.
Is that a bit like Vooping? Yeah, it's like Vooping but Bear Grylls edition.
Oh, that reminds me. This week's episode is brought to you from Pilgrim Vapes.
What, shitting on a cigarette butt reminds you of Pilgrim Vapes?
No, somebody said something, and it reminded me of. Anyway.
Amazing. Oh, subtle as a brick.
Do you think that because essentially vaping is a cleaner way of smoking, a healthier and cleaner way of smoking, do you think people like believe that they are cleaner and like it in a mental state think, oh, I'm not going to throw this 10ml bottle on the floor? Whereas with the end of a fag, they would have done.
To be fair, it's quite difficult to put a lit cigarette in your pocket when you're finished.
Well, moving on.
No, to be fair, it's a fair comment. Fair statement.
I would have said no, but it sounds strange, right? I still think that people don't see that chucking a butt on the floor is littering in the same sense as chucking a plastic bottle on the floor. Because chucking a plastic bottle on the floor, people seem to see that as much more of a littering than they do stubbing out their fag, and I think that's just built into society, unfortunately. But I see far less cigarette butts on the floor nowadays than I used to.
That's because less people are smoking nowadays. You see less white dog shit on the floor. It doesn't mean there's less dogs.
Mm.
Anyway, so I've had an interesting week.
You have?
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, which I'm guessing is most of you, your blurry face is really doing my head in.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to figure out why it's doing it.
There we go. So for those of you that don't know, which is likely to be everyone because it's not been made overly public, I am no longer part of Jeffrey's Vintage Vape anymore. In fact, the company is closing down. So I've had an interesting week of looking forward, moving forward, seeing what we're going to do. We, as in me, myself, and I. So, yes. New and wonderful things coming. A lot of hard work ahead. Exciting because it's new. Excited because I'm on my own. Yeah. The decision was out of my hands, unfortunately. That's the beauty of a vote. But yes, lots of new stuff, lots of new exciting stuff to come. I can't say an awful lot at the moment. Yep, seriously, really, it's all honest. It's true. And in fact, if you try and order off the website, you won't be able to anymore. So my apologies, guys, for those of you, and I know we do have a lot of massive customers, and anyone that has tried to order or anything like that, I have emailed this week just to let them know. I'm gutted. I am devastated, gutted, but the decision was made to close the doors on the company, and unfortunately, I didn't have enough cash to buy everyone out, so we let it go. Pilgrim Vapes collaboration liquid line then, Mark. Absolutely, Dave. Let's do that, because this week the show is brought to you by Pilgrim Vapes.
You're worse than I am.
Just wait for Cloudy Lemonade to come in salt form, and there you go. You've got your MTL wire and your Cloudy Lemonade.
Yeah, I mean, what everyone should be looking out for is the new line called Jerry's Modern Brews. It's going to be exactly the same as Jeffrey's Vintage Vapes, just with a brand new name.
You want to try Jeffrey's new vintage vape line. It's spelled with a G, not a J.
Jeff's old vape, right?
But it won't be the last. Any under the counter stuff? No, all the stock was returned. Gone. I'm afraid, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Sad times, but at the same time, I'm guessing good times for you.
There's a lot more opportunity now, right?
I'm going to be honest. I was gutted, upset, pissed off, annoyed, all of the above. And obviously, I've totally lost an income. So, as a family, it's hard. It's going to be hard. But long term, I'm my own boss. I am my own. I can do as I please, do what I want, when I want, as I want. And I don't necessarily have to please or answer anybody else. So, yeah. The future's bright.
Oh.
The future's looking forwards, and I can't move Chandler's face. It's not letting me.
Weird.
But no. I want to take this opportunity to thank everybody that has supported, not just the brand, but me. And I know there's a lot of you that have supported me. It was fun while it lasted. We had great fun. Great support, and I've broken Chandler's face.
Oh, there you go, Mark. Did he want a labourer?
With my back, mate, you wouldn't want it. Chandler, I've got to delete you and re-import you.
To be fair, did it takes him a week to bend over.
Nah.
It's like a giraffe taking a drink.
Indeed. But no. It's all good. Onwards and upwards.
What?
And watch this space.
So what have I just missed?
If you'd have been here, you'd have known.
Yeah, I know. I'm smarty ass. I do my best. I'm sorry.
It's just not acceptable anymore, Chandler. What's going on?
I know. I apologise. It's my fault. Selling phones. Some woman wanted an iPhone. I can't even convince people to buy decent phones.
Well, so you'll have to get an Android then.
Do you actually have any people wanting left to give people? Because I know Apple have actually closed down their pre-orders now till the 21st.
We're still taking orders, and as far as yes. I think we are. We have got stock of certain colours. Yes.
Mark, you're getting more offers on here than what is it? Indeed. Badger wants to seal his pit and he ain't got a ladder.
Chandler, can you scoot to your right a little bit? There we go.
I scoot to my right.
Perfect.
Yeah. That's your new position for the rest of the show. For the next hour and 10
That's my
minutes.
new position.
That's how I offer a bit. So, yeah, just deal with it.
Okay. I suppose I could do... Hang on. You ready for this? Yeah. There you go. Is that better?
No, you've just completely fucked it now.
I just completely fucked it.
Oh, shit.
Hey, how's that better? Stop messing with it. So just leave it alone and put it back to what it was.
It's all gone absolutely Pete Tong.
I told you it would when we said about it.
Oh, love it.
That'll do.
Oh,
That'll
dear.
do.
That's good enough.
It'll do.
Mm.
Oh, what happens, Mark? You got to put him behind the overlay. That'll fix it all.
He is behind the overlay.
So why is he? He's
No,
not.
I'm in front of the overlay. So's Jono.
Yeah, but mine's
Everybody's in front of the overlay.
Fuck's sake. There we go. Everyone is now.
Hey, that'll do. Beautiful.
Nice.
It's looking slick. Looking slick. Definitely didn't throw this together last night.
Chandler, what are you vaping on?
Me? I have got my Paps with the Mathsalon Cafen on the top, as per normal. So this has turned into my daily carry. So I seem to get on better with the 18650 tube than I do with the 18350. It fits in my massive, great big hands better than the tiny little diddy thing. I don't know what you guys think. And I've got the Danny box with the scrape on the top. And I've got in their nasty juice the silver tobacco, the vanilla tobacco in there, in my mouth to lung. And I've got a Pistol icebreaker in my scrape.
Awesome.
There we go. It's all gone very quiet. And I'm eating a sausage sandwich for my tea.
Are your sausages as cooked as your bacon was?
Very crispy.
Okay, that's acceptable.
So, yeah.
Yeah. DM wants to know if you want to sell the 350 tube, Chandler.
Oh, you know me, I don't sell shit.
No.
I've got
If
one
you
with
ask him
a
nicely, he
top.
might give it to you.
Is the sausage an XT350?
Well, it was an 18650. Now it's only a 350. So yeah, I'm slowly. I'll slowly get it down to a. Hang on.
Yeah,
Now it's only a 220. Why not?
Because
It's entertainment.
it's not entertaining. If I wanted to eat somebody eat, I'd put a mirror in front of me while I'm eating my dinner. Just no. Just no. Right, anyway, I'm blocking Chandler out. I'm turning him off. Rolf, behave yourself.
What's Mark doing? He keeps disappearing.
I'm trying to add Paul.
Oh, okay.
There you go, Rolf, get in the bin.
Oh man. Look, it was either eat my tea while I'm talking to you or not have any tea.
Just be glad I haven't put names over tonight, because with 5 names on the screen it looked ridiculous. I did try it and it was just silly. So no one's got any name tags tonight.
Hey, I've also got my squonker out. Look, I'm squonky.
Ooh.
You did.
Oh, where's my personalised squonker?
It's my VT UK. Well, you weren't here when I made the bloody things. I mean, what was that? To be fair, I have actually got one of these doors kicking around somewhere with Dale written on the bottom.
Can I just cross out Dale in Sharpie and put Cass?
Yeah, so I'm going to see if I can get this right first time. So any newcomers to the show, we've got Mark, who is leader. We've got Cass.
Who does this Height Hitler quite a lot.
Yeah. No, wrong way.
Always get the wrong way.
In the
Cass is up
Cass
there.
is that way. No, he's
Yeah.
not. He's that way. Damn it.
And then we've got Rolf, who is there. No,
Down below.
that side.
He's down there.
I'm down here. I'm in the middle.
No.
He's in the middle at the bottom. Middle bottom.
I'm in the middle, at the bottom.
And if you're watching and you haven't hit that beautiful little heart-shaped follow button yet, you absolutely should do.
Oh, what's that supposed to do with it?
Oh, look who's here.
Oh.
Oh,
Way!
Good
morning.
I'm
Good
just
morning.
bringing Paul up. You've got to bear with Paul. It's like, what, 5, 6 a.m.?
6 a.m. 6 a.m.
Oh.
good day.
Man.
Good day.
Man. Getting
That's
you up
fine.
early, it's disgraceful.
Now, we can't
it's
call Chandler Rolf anymore because we might trigger him.
Oh God, no.
Oh, yeah, Echo.
I've killed it.
Okay.
Just bear with me a second. I've just got a bound.
How are you doing, Paul?
Doing really well.
Long time no speak.
I've been a very, very busy little boy with my new position.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
In a
Oh,
moment,
well.
tell us all.
Yep.
Well, I will.
Good. It's almost like there's a talk show to talk about these things.
Yeah.
What is it? Talk Vape, Kingdom United, something like that. Yeah. Anyway.
Sounds like a football team made up of complete, absolute bellends.
Let me guess. You're captain.
Yes. The Mark's goalie just
Captain
stands there.
I want to be Captain Bellend.
No, but you can be
No
Master
comment on
Bates.
that one.
What's happened to Chandler and Jono?
Oh,
I'm
So
here somewhere.
I'm all right. I'm all right. It's Rolf that's the problem. Do you know what? That's probably better. That's probably better. Just the chair with the, I don't know, blanket hang over it. Oh Christ, it came back.
It's all good. We're never doing 5 again.
Sorry,
Hey,
Paul. This is your last
It
one.
makes it more amusing.
oh dear. Good evening, Paul. Good morning, Paul. Good afternoon, Paul. Thank you very
Good
much
morning.
for joining us. We do appreciate it. And I was thinking to myself earlier, as I was driving home, I was talking to Paul maybe an hour ago, and he's going to be joining us in like 5 hours.
Yeah, that works.
Have you slept since then?
Yeah, a few hours. I was. Well, I don't think many of us have had sleep over the past few days with what's going on in the United States, and then everything that's just about to be handed down here in Australia, because the 1st of October, South Australia now becomes completely, you can't sell anything online anymore. No more.
Because-
All
When did
gone.
that come in?
All
That was a little
gone.
while ago, wasn't it? Or was that recent?
No, that was earlier this year, and it's the first state in Australia, and that's where the bogan is. We've got
Blimey.
problems. It's complete shutdown of online sales.
Wow.
So is that just within the state, or is that in and out of the state? Can you buy out a state and bring it in, or?
No. It's now an offence to actually sell stuff into South Australian clients.
That is fucked up.
Wow.
It's a bit more than fucked up, actually. How are the people in the rural areas going to keep going with vaping? No online sales, in or out of the state.
Let me
Can they
guess.
go out of
It's
state and
perfectly
bring it in?
It's perfectly okay for cigarettes then, by any chance?
Oh, yeah, $50 a pack now.
Wow.
Jeez! Blimey!
What's that? About £25 British?
Give or take. So,
Okay.
did they give any reasoning as to this, or why it's happening?
Well, the health minister's a dickhead for a start. But, well, you wanted the truth.
No,
Well, yeah,
that's too right.
don't sugarcoat it for us, Paul. Just say it how it is.
Well, he is for a start, and second part to that is he's also not a doctor. He's another lawyer, and our federal health minister is not a doctor. He's a lawyer. So we've got this country being run by idiots. Bottom line, they're not in the business of harm reduction. They're just in the business of money and campaign contributions. That's all it is.
Yeah. So does this affect any actual bricks and mortar stores? Because they can't get stock in, surely.
No, that's a little bit different. You can buy from international, but you can't buy from within Australia.
Wow.
Hmm?
So you have to pay the extra in shipping to get it over.
Yeah, but how are they going to police this? Can someone give me an idea how they're going to actually police this? Because I have no idea right now.
I mean, surely the way around is to get the companies selling online in Oz to send it out of the country and then back into the country, because then you get through the international loophole.
Okay, so we'll tie it to a kangaroo.
Put it in a ship.
You'll have to excuse Chandler. He's got like this thing when someone starts talking, he likes to talk over them. So if he starts, just talk over the top of him. It's fine.
No, that's fine. So we'll just tie it to a kangaroo, bounce it around the world, and then bounce it back into Australia. Is that how it's going to work, Chandler?
Yeah, but you don't necessarily need the kangaroo.
Well, we've got Qantas. That's the flying kangaroo. Our airline. So yeah,
oh, okay.
That's how we're going to do it.
Right. I was just. Yeah. Okay. Fine. That's all right. As long as no actual kangaroos are harmed in the making of this, that's fine.
One of the viewers wants to know, why would a government screw their own industries and force people to import from other countries? Makes no sense at all.
Well, it makes perfect sense here because all our liquids that we manufacture and sell are also 0 milligram nicotine. We have to import our nicotine. So it makes perfect sense for them to do this. So it just adds more money to like import taxes for the freight companies, for all their little friends that give them donations and bottles of scotch for Christmas. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
A lot of people are suggesting setting up websites and warehouses in New Zealand.
There's already 2 manufacturers that have done that. There's a number of other manufacturers that are looking at doing that. We've had people or distributors and brick and mortars actually move from South Australia into Victoria, which is the state across. And then, that's so they can keep trading to the rest of Australia for us. But then if you look at it, they can't sell back into South Australia. It is so stupid.
This is just localised to South Australia. Is there any chance of it going countrywide?
Please don't say that. Don't give these idiots any more ideas.
But it is at the moment localised.
Yeah, correct. But there was talk at the federal level that they will hand it down Australia-wide.
Oh.
One thing that we were talking about earlier, Paul, which I thought I knew the sort of the Australian laws, legislations, regulations and everything. But it turns out I didn't. I didn't realise earlier, and we had quite a lengthy chat a few hours ago about Australia, the UAE. I didn't realise that in Australia they can only buy 0 nic.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, all of our liquids here is 0 milligram. We have 2 options. You can buy similar to a short fill, or what we call a doubler here, where you add your nicotine and your base to it to create your finished liquid. Or the second way you can do it is you buy high-level nicotine, 100 milligram and above, from outside the country. You bring it in and you add it to a finished liquid. So yeah, you've got two options. But even now, we have a company that's actively speaking to the government to try and stop the nicotine import at the border. It's a company here that is selling a pod system into the country, and they're actively looking at the government to say, well, no more. We don't want nicotine brought in. If you want it, we want it medicalised. We want it on the registry here, so you have to go and get a prescription, which you already have to do to import your nicotine. But they want vaping or the NRT space that you have to go to a doctor and it's dealt out by a doctor and a pharmacist, which is rubbish.
It has to come via a prescription then.
Correct. Yeah. We don't agree with that in any way, shape, or form. We think that,
and that's a vaping company trying to push that.
Yeah, it is.
Who's this vaping company owned by?
Believe it or not, it's actually owned by someone. Well, he's the co-partner and he's also the medical director of it. And he was an advocate here in Australia, and now he's gone on for financial gain.
Yeah, so he's been paid off.
Yeah.
That's so bad.
So, I mean, is their final target is to just kill all vaping and tobacco?
Not kill tobacco, because for the size of our country, and you look at the amount of money that they make per year in tobacco taxes, you're pushing almost on $17 billion a year in tobacco taxes that they're making.
So they don't want to lose that.
No. And we've upended their little apple cart with the vaping space, and we're helping people get away from combustibles. Simple as that.
Yeah,
they don't like what we've done.
No, of course not. It's like what we were saying last week about how you've got all these American local states borrowing money off the basis they're going to be getting tobacco tax back in, and they're not getting that tobacco tax back in, so they're freaking out about it.
Well, that's part of it. The MSA agreement and what they've done, they've bought bonds and they've levied against the bonds. They can't pay the bonds back in time, so bada bing, they're in trouble. And they're all going to default. That's how it works. My news feed on Facebook, because I've been advocating for a number of years now, and I've been very deep in the trenches over the past few weeks with what's going on in the United States, and now that the bans are being handed down, it's just mind-boggling.
Yeah,
I was showing Mark a funny little picture that a vape celebrity wants to take back to the United States and present to the governor of New York, to Cuomo, and I think he should do it. But some of the commentary on that photo were quite funny.
Do we have that photo?
I will put it in our group.
Excellent.
You boys will have a good laugh at this. It's quite funny.
So, how is this affecting your business specifically? All of this malarkey. I haven't even looked yet.
I haven't either. Give me a chance. I'm obviously not as quick at opening my phone up as everybody else.
Yeah,
Actually, amazing.
we'd get banned.
Oh,
That's actually
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah.
And considering who went and did that, you've got to see the humour behind it.
Yeah.
No, it's quite good, but it has started to affect me in quite a few ways. I'm not doing as much collaborating as I was with various companies. I now cannot, after the 1st of October, I can't collaborate really anymore with clients that I did have in South Australia, which is not a good thing. They don't care. They really don't care. Bottom line.
Yeah. And that's well, my fucking camera, honest to God. It's all gone wrong. Yeah, I've forgotten what I was going to say. I was going to completely.
You were just saying in chat that you're mind blown by $50.
Yeah, that's still I still can't get my head around that. I mean, by doing that, surely they're also stopping people smoking, because surely not everyone can afford that kind of cash.
Okay.
The
government. What?
I was going to say, is there a strong black market? What's the black market like for cigarettes down there?
That's what I was just about to get to.
Okay.
You now have a thriving black market with cheap knockoff cigarettes that are being brought in mostly through the shipping system, and they're being sold for around $15 a packet. Okay, $15 to $20 a packet. So yeah, over half the price. The issue with that is no one knows where they're being manufactured. That's for a start. We don't know if there's any nasties or chemicals or more chemicals in them than what traditional cigarettes have. The other key ingredient that we have here in Australia that no one will talk about openly is we have a very large operation down in Tasmania called Tasmanian Alkaloids, who are owned by Johnson & Johnson. They, back in, I think it was 1994, they created a hybrid poppy known as the Bane, and the Bane is in production, the opium poppy, and it supplies over 60% of the world's supply of opium or base product for opioids.
Wow.
In Tasmania?
Yes, correct.
Owned by Johnson & Johnson?
Correct.
Wow. That's mental.
That's a big jump from baby wipes, isn't it?
Well, now you're understanding, and I apologise to the world for Australia being such arseheads and helping to create the opioid epidemic, but, you know, you've got to...
Are they using it? Are they using are those opioids going for recreational use, or is it purely medicinal?
Okay, Johnson & Johnson actually signed a deal with Purdue many years ago to supply all the base products to the Purdue family for Oxy, Oxycontin, Oxycodone, all of that crap. Right? So this is the base product or the raw ingredient for the opioid trade. So, you know, take from it what you can. It's both for recreational, medical, and then, you know, black market.
See, I read an interesting article the other day saying that the company that make OxyContin have actually gone bankrupt.
They filed bankruptcy. They filed bankruptcy for two reasons: because they knew that the Purdue family were just about to be taken to the cleaners. So they've been cleaning house and making sure that all their lovely accounts have been set up in the Cayman Islands, so they've still got money. Don't worry about it. You know, they've made sure that family is so rich it's not funny. So you've got a lot of issues here in Australia. That's one of them. So we know who the lobby groups are. Yes, Big Tobacco, PMI is involved with lobbying the government for their products. They've been lobbying the government to try and get the ICOS system through. That's not going to happen. Then you have the pharma side of things. You have our federal health minister, who is a lawyer and not a doctor, and he is coming out and saying, well, there's not enough education on vaping products, so we're not going to listen to you. He won't talk to the overall vaping community on a whole. So yeah, it's quite a dilemma that we're in here right now.
Paul, what would you like to see happen? So obviously you're a massive advocate, and you know what's going on around the world. You know what's happening, and you see certain laws in different countries. What would you like? What would you like to see in Australia? What laws would you like Australia to see adopted?
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to see the reclassification of nicotine from a Schedule 7 poison down to maybe a Schedule 3 or 4, where it can be used in liquid nicotine products, even though the same nicotine that we use in our vaping products is what they use in the pharma industry, for their gums, sprays, patches, everything else. That's for a start. The decriminalisation of the vape space here, and I'd like to sit down with the federal health minister and actually educate the Muppet on what he doesn't understand. It's a life-saving technology. It's between 95 and 97% safer than smoking a cigarette, and it was the only thing that got me off combustibles. Simple as that. And I smoked for over 30 years.
What's the chances of you actually being able to get a meeting with the person you want to have a chat with him?
He's refused on numerous occasions, simply because he doesn't want to speak to us, and the governing body of medicines and all that type of stuff here in Australia, known as the Therapeutic Goods Administration, or the TGA, they also need to be held accountable for this. He's out there spruiking, and this came out in an interview a couple of years ago, and he's been saying it again and again and again. He needs to go back to chemistry school, because he's bringing out that it's ethylene glycol that we use in our vape devices, not propylene glycol. And then on top of that, I think the TGA has a lot to answer for. Our health minister is more interested in bringing through chemotherapy drugs and things like that, rather than bringing through real-time solutions for the people here. Every year we're losing 19,000 people from smoking-related illness, which is putting a huge burden on the health system. By the time his lovely little study is done and dusted, you're going to have 38,000 people dead. So again, Mr. Hunt, it's blood on your hands, boy. It's not us that's doing the wrong thing. It's you. Who's paying for your new house, on the harbour? Who's doing this for you? Who's doing that? Or is it that lovely, parliamentary pension or government pension that you're going to get at the end of the day for the rest of your life? Well, sorry, blood on your hands, sir. Enough is enough. Step away from, what's going on. Let the real people in that know what the hell is going on. Let us help you take the burden off the health system. Simple.
The thing is, they're shooting themselves in the foot twice, because by not only taking vaping out of the equation for a lot of people, but also by pricing themselves out of the cigarette market, because they're not getting any money from the black market cigarettes. So they're still going to be losing money no matter what they're doing. So they're going to have to change when they see it. Unfortunately, when they start losing more money, they're going to take the blame out on vaping even harder and blame vaping for the things that they're losing money. When actually it's not vaping that's causing them to lose money. It's all their black market cigarettes that are not they're getting tax on.
Well, that in part. They're saying now that the black market, they're losing about 1.9 to $2.5 billion a year in extra taxes that they could be collecting. I think the figure might be a little bit higher somehow, because you have a look at that industry, like the pre-made cigarettes and what's known as chop or the illegal like leaf tobacco that's being sold here as well. That's just absolute garbage. But the government have been coming out with lies, and it's becoming more and more blatant that originally they said that, they had the smoking rate down to 10%. That's a lie. It's around somewhere between 12 and 14% through the economy. And then if you have a look at very not well-to-do or low socio-economic areas, certain towns and states and parts of the states and demographic, you're looking at up to 40% of the population smoking in those areas. So they're not telling the truth at all. Their higher taxes and their plain packaging worked for a little while. It didn't deter people.
It never does.
No, well, the smoking rate is now climbing again in these parts because they're blocking a system that can completely eradicate it if needs be. If it's put into play the right way, we're willing to have it taxed, but, fairly taxed. Not, $1 per mil so they can go and throw $30 on a 30 mil bottle. No, we're not going to play that game. But
No.
If they were to give us 10 cents or something per mil, I'd say we'd accept that. That's how I see it. But no, they're idiots.
That was a similar conversation I had with someone not that long ago, actually, that they're saying, if you drop all the limits you've put on us, the industry would accept a tax on the products because they're happy to pay their way and contribute to what they do, because at the end of the day, other than VAT, vaping isn't taxed like cigarettes. There's no duty on it. There's no anything like that. And it seems fair to contribute back in that respect, as it is a replacement. However, drop all the fucking stupid limitations. And like for you guys, it's becoming impossible. I don't know how your industry's even surviving in South Australia right now.
That's the only way I could see a tax working over here, is if you do drop the limitations, because you'd have to effectively put a tax on 72 milligram nic.
You see, I think would a question not only to everyone in this room but everyone in chat as well, everybody in the UK. Let's say that there was to put an additional 20% tax. From that additional 20% tax, we would get back up to 60 mils with nicotine in it. Okay? We would... Let's maintain the 2 mils. Let's maintain the 2 mil tank size.
Why are you maintaining the 2 mil tank size?
Because... what's it matter?
I mean, even in the TPD, Germany doesn't have it.
No.
France doesn't have it.
No, they do have it.
They
just choose not to abide by it.
They don't care about police.
No. They the way they interpret it is it's 2 mil for closed systems, so it's 2 mil for the pod systems.
Yeah. So they're choosing to interpret it in their way. Regardless, let's just say, would you pay an extra 20% for your juice to have nicotine back in it?
100%.
Now, saying that, part of this deal will be every single e-liquid would have to go through a full rigorous TPD test, which means we're going to get rid of a lot of dog shit brands. Okay, would you be happy to lose those dog shit brands? Would you be happy to have a 60 ml pre-nicked bottle and pay an extra 20%?
Well, the way I'd see it working is because Badger's just put fuck no, I'm on zero nick, so
you wouldn't tax the zero nick, would you?
The zero nick would not be taxed. The only way to make it work would be because obviously there's then people who DIY. So again, it'd be pre nicotine bottles would be taxed and 72 milligram nick. or short or the nick shots would need to be taxed.
And people are saying in chat it's cheaper just to get shots. It is. Absolutely it is.
Yeah.
But by doing this, it's going to be policed more heavily. We're going to get rid of the knobheads pumping out shit from northern towns.
But you would still be able to.
I'd like to see.
Sorry, go on.
I'd like to see the 72 milligram abolished completely. Come and play in the real world. Come and play with 100 meg, and be done with it. I'm sorry, but you're diluting said liquids. You're getting crap liquids from idiot manufacturers that don't know what they're doing. And I'll get on to this point in a minute with who I now work for. And you know, we're in the business of helping people, not trying to destroy an industry. I'll say it right now. I now work for Molenbeek. I'm the development manager for Molenbeek, Poland, and we're of the same mindset that we would like to see certain things happen. I've been in discussions with Mark and a number of other people in the UK recently. If the 72 milligram was lifted to 100 milligram, right, for a start, when you're diluting down to 72 milligram, are they adding any other garbage into said 72 milligram to bolster it? This is a question that we've had. If you're getting straight 100 milligram that's being manufactured by said lab, we know that there's no other nasties in there. If you're diluting with, with substandard, propylene glycol, then you've got an issue. This is one of my arguments that I've had with a number of customers as well. Why do you need to be using 72 milligram? It's a very strange number for me, and I'm a mixologist. I'm a hired gun in the mixing world. I still can't get my head around it. Sorry, but it needs to be blown apart and put back together again the right way. Simple.
Yeah, it was a mathematically easy number to work with. It's mathematically easier to it kind of in the same way that imperial coinage was mathematically easy to work out. But yeah, no, I'm with you. It would make more sense if it was metric. Okay, so yeah, if you started off with 100.
Well, it is.
Someone's just asked, what's the relationship with Chemnovatic?
Between Molenbeek and Chemnovatic?
I assume so. They've not elaborated. The question was, what's the relationship with Chemnovatic? Subvids, can you just elaborate on your question? He said yes.
Okay. Chemnovatic are the manufacturers of all the Molenbeek concentrates and for the Chemnovatic range of OEM or commercial concentrates. Yes. They're also the sister company.
DM made a very good point a minute ago in the chat. He said, I'd like to see the general product safety laws enforced against shit short fills first. So should
100%.
should these these short fills go through the same testing as nicotine containing liquids do now?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. I'd like to see the laws looked at a little bit further. I'd like to see proper structure of who these said liquid companies are or short film manufacturers and get to the bottom of it. In the YouTube chat, a good friend of mine and otherwise known as the Thunder Down Under, Bruni Saint, he's one of my customers, but he's also a massive advocate. He will tell you the difference, and we've tried liquids from all over the world, and I've tried some absolute shockers. I've had stuff sent to me from the UK, and I couldn't vape it. It's absolute garbage.
Don't start, honestly. Some of the shit that the UK is producing right now is just utter bollocks.
Subvids has just said, don't Chemnovatic manufacture nicotine. Yes, they do, and it is the best nicotine. And I'm not just saying that. I've worked with Chemnovatic and Molin for many, many years. And hands down, Chemnovatic nicotine is, and I'm not being paid to say this, I'm genuinely not being paid to say this, hands down, Chemnovatic is the best nicotine I have ever used. Ever.
Next week's show brought to you by Chemnovatic.
I was just waiting for the logo getting popped up. I'm brought to you this week.
No, genuinely.
It's, look, I can tell you right now, I've got nicotine samples here in this room, from China, from the United States, from Canada, from the UK, from Germany, and from us at Chemnovatic. Chemnovatic is on par with only one other company, and from my understanding, there might be a business relationship between them, and that's a company out of the west coast of the United States. But it's the cleanest I've ever worked with as well, and I try and find the best I can. The only other one is a stem-based nicotine that is actually manufactured in the United States, and I only use that in pod systems.
Fair enough. Yeah, I to be honest with you, as I've never manufactured, I couldn't tell you where the nicotine I vape comes from. It's very much something that you deal with at a manufacturer level.
I have tried, obviously, with Nick Shots over here. I have tried some rough nicotine. I have sold nicotine in the shop that people have been put off by E-Liquid, thinking that it was the E-Liquid that was shocking.
Yep.
And I think John and us are singing from the same hymn sheet here. And
yeah, absolutely.
It wasn't the E-Liquid that was shit. It was the nicotine that absolutely destroyed.
Ripped your throat a new one.
So you're telling me you don't go in for that harsh, peppery taste?
No, forget the taste. The heart, literally, it turned your lungs inside out.
Seriously, Cass, it was awful.
Really?
Yeah.
We get a name and shame?
No. Subvids. Subvids wants to know, can we get Chemnovatic Nick here in the UK? Not at the minute, I don't think.
Oh, Mark, just for you, when we were saying about the tax, when you were saying about the 20%, yes. Were you meaning on just liquids or all vape products, mods included?
All vape products.
Oh.
All products, right. I can't remember who asked, but somebody did ask it in chat.
Sorry, yes, everything. No, I don't think Chemnovatic... I used to distribute Chemnovatic nicotine in the UK many, many years ago before the TPD. Obviously, you're not going to get it as an end user. Obviously, here in the UK, 18 milligram for an end user is all you can get. I don't think you'll be able to get Chemnovatic as an end user. If you check out the Chemnovatic website, or is it on the Molenberry site as well?
It's on the Chemnovatic site, but Chemnovatic's pretty much set up business to business only. Yeah.
Well, there used to be a company in the UK called Darrant Chemicals, who I think they went under. But a lot of people I knew were getting stuff from them and saying it was terrible product. And it turned out they were supplying some massive vape brands pre-TPD.
I've had some really, really good nicotine. And at the moment, it's the only nicotine that I used to stock, was the Flawless nicotine. Now, it was more expensive to me to buy. I didn't charge any more for it. I charged the same as anybody else would. But Flawless nicotine is
flawless.
Bang on.
Nice one, Johnny. I like that.
It is flawless. Yeah, sorry, I've only just got the pun.
Right, I'm just going to check my notes. I had a couple of other bits in the notes, but I don't know whether they're actually even relevant at this point.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, a short question was that do any of us think that after the UK is continuing to stand by vaping, do you think that's going to have any reverse effect on either the US or Australia or anywhere else in the world, that the UK is continuing to say that vaping is fine?
And
Do we think that's going to have a reverse?
continuing to put vape shops in hospitals? And
Exactly.
do you think that'll have any effect on what the rest of the world is doing, or do you think the rest of the world is that pig-headed and that's stuck up at their own dollar clenching arse that they just carry on doing their own thing?
Well, we know what the USA is doing right now. They're rolling out flavour bans left, right, and centre. The actual hearing with Como is going on as we speak in New York, like for his emergency agenda. But sorry, guys, it's all about that MSA money. You know, we've upset his apple cart, so he's not getting his MSA money. He's going to default on his bonds. And Kumo, in one statement, says, "Oh, I like vaping, but who cares? I just need those dollars. The dollars.
Is that somebody else backpedaling? I think somebody else did that this week, didn't they?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a number of them over there that are saying one thing and doing another. It's like the study that came out of Utah that the liquids actually have opioids in them, and I said, well, I'm obviously buying the wrong fucking liquid here, because I'm not getting high as a kite. I'm not getting high as a kite when I'm having a toot, but you know.
I don't know. I'm not getting
were?
high, but my friend Goblin will tell you the rest of the story.
They said that 84% of the liquids they tested had opioids in them.
Yeah, I know. I'll send it through to you guys, but I actually have the list of the liquid manufacturers and what they found in them. Even one of them even had PCP. So hang on,
Wow.
I've got to go and find. I got to find that one so we can all go tripping balls. Yeah.
Start with some out of body experiences.
Would I be being cynical in saying that is the reason that the main reason that the UK is not handing out flavour bans or anything like that because our government is too tied up in pissing around with Brexit to do anything else?
You see, Paul and I had this conversation earlier, and Paul mentioned, well, once Brexit's happened, you can fuck the TPD off. Ideal world, yeah, we'd love that to happen, right? In reality, I think we all know it'd never happen.
Well, there's a good legal reason for that, because now that we've adopted it into UK law, whether we leave the EU or not, it is now a UK law and will take up to a minimum of 2 years to repeal.
That's one of the beauties. It's going to take a minimum of 2 to 3 years to even make an amendment to the TPD. Mm-hmm. So even if they were to try and ban flavours, it would take 2 years under the TPD to make those changes.
To be fair, we've been trying. How long have we been trying to leave the EU? So
when was the referendum? I've forgotten now. Was it 1992, something like that?
But the thing is, Parliament's been closed, and there's lots of Bill Hickey bullshit. But this isn't politics talk, UK.
No.
For God's sake, don't set Cass off, for fuck's sake.
Oh man,
that's a bull you do not want to let out of the gate, right? Chandler,
look,
my man.
We don't want Cass going on about how much he wants to get this Brexit over and done with and get out of it. You know.
One
Chandler,
thing though, Cass.
Yeah.
Australia won't listen. Our health minister won't even read what was put out by the Royal College. I'm sorry, but he doesn't know how to read. That's his issue. He hasn't read the report yet. He doesn't know how to read.
Amazing. So like
anyone will tell you that. There's some great memes running around with Trump right now.
If you ever want a little bit of a conspiracy theory, look up Trump illiterate. And someone has actually gone through the entire depth of videos and depositions and all sorts to prove that Trump literally cannot read. But that's just a side thing. Chandler, have you got some adventures for us today?
No. Before we go adventuring, we've got a question.
Oh.
Yeah, we've got a very big question.
Oh, sorry, Jono, my man.
Cass, why the fuck are you skipping past my section, you bellend?
I'm sorry, Jono.
Oh man.
The 26-hour stream this weekend. I'm still arsey. I'm still recovering. So do not set me off. I'm like you with politics.
Right. Can someone boot?
What do you mean still arsey?
Can someone boot Vape Take Stream, please? Remain or Brexit. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. We're not having this conversation here now. Never. Sorry.
Right. So if it's taken what 5-6 years for like vaping to go more or less like mainstream kind of thing. If vaping was to start again, say from 6 years ago, with the technology that we have now,
Oh my god.
how do you think it'd go? Like, so what do you think it'd be like the more? So say from like now, pod systems obviously, they are now suck activated.
Are we talking about?
Sorry,
John, are we talking about diaphragms? Is that what we're talking about?
the very
So, to be honest, I wanted to go back to my very first question about the fleshlight mod, but all right. So you've got the inhale activation technology. We've now got Bluetooth. I mean, Christ, are some of them getting like getting hotspot Wi-Fi now? I don't know. But yeah, what do you think would be like the next technology of vaping? Like mod, we'll go mod wise, because then later down the line we could revisit this.
It's almost as though Paul's been led into this.
Yeah,
He's not doing it. He's not doing it.
He's not biting yet.
No. We had a conversation earlier.
But if you dare say that a didgeridoo needs sort of an atty on top of it, don't make Chandler move. I swear to God, he will show you his party piece, and you'll be very.
Oh, don't do it.
I mean, who wants to go first?
I'm going to go first. I'm going to say, going back to day one with CE4s and little ego twists, what have you. You know what? Some of those CE4s and ego twists were better than the shit we've got on the market today. 100% hands down. I stopped smoking on a CE4 and an ego twist, right? Would I have been more successful now with what we've got available on the market? Probably not. I'd have probably have been dumbfounded by equipment. I'd have probably have been dumbfounded with flavours. I'd have been dumbfounded by the amount of choice that we have now. Back then, you got 10 flavours, you got a C4, you got an ego twist. It worked for me. Do I need bear clouds, bro? And we know that people are starting on these fucking smock sticks. We know people are bear clouding, dude, to stop smoking because my mate's got one.
Don't get me started on that shit.
How many of us stopped smoking on a CE4 type device? Yeah.
Paul?
Yeah, Paul's hands up. Yeah.
I still sell anywhere between 30 and 40 CE4 disposable tanks a week. Still.
Good old Aspire.
Do you work on a market?
Well, Jono, if you see me after the show, I might have some naughty cartridges for you.
Bet.
easy.
I'm going to see you at your next car boot sale, I swear to God.
Orgy's just said, but that's what Shop recommends to new vapors. Smart products. It's true.
They do because they're undereducated.
Yeah, but you also got to remember that shops are looking at what's popular. Smock is popular, so they're going to buy what's popular to make money, and they're going to suggest what they've got in stock to be popular. It's a vicious cycle. It's not what's good; it's what people want.
So I think we were better off knowing the industry back then, appreciating what we've got now and the changes now. I don't think I don't think I'll be able to make a decent informed decision now.
I say we can revisit this for future products, like Atties and tanks, etc., etc.
I'm just looking at the industry as a whole.
It's specifically mods that I'm looking
you've
for.
changed your tune.
I actually said it at the beginning, but you went off on a tangent.
Whatever.
I think for mine, the thing that I would see is not so much things like features or novelties and stuff. I think things like battery technology are going to improve. I mean, we're already seeing 1,000 mAh batteries stuffed into tiny little vapes, and I think
very, very good shout.
I'm seeing 1,500, 2,000 mAh batteries in things that you wouldn't imagine them being that size. And I think vaping is a very simple principle, and you can't really improve on a principle so simple. You can add features and novelties and all that bullshit, but the fact is you are going to be getting smaller and smaller mods and devices with much, much longer battery lives. I mean, the E-Leaf iPower, for example, as much as Mark has a burning hatred for it.
Don't burn my house down, for fuck's sake.
Basically, you're talking about a STIG pod with a battery life of an RX 200.
Exactly. It's got a 5,000 mAh battery in something that's smaller than the Smok M80.
But do we need it? That's the question. Do we need that battery life? Or am I quite
People
happy?
always ask about battery life.
For me, right, I get through a battery a day. A battery a day. I'm getting my nicotine fix. I don't need bare clouds, bro. Okay, it's opinion. Chandler likes Squonky and he likes his bare clouds, bro. Same with Jono. You're sat there, no doubt, on a series box. Oh, no, you're not, are you? That's a change.
Well, to be honest,
technically it is.
To be honest, mate, I'm on effectively the same mod that you're on. Mm-hmm. So mod wise, I'm using it with a direct lung tank on the top, and I'll be honest with you, I pretty much get through a battery a day.
But if battery life didn't matter, I wouldn't have literally every customer that buys a mod going, what's the battery life like? How often do I have to charge it?
I want that with my car. How long does a tank of fuel last? People are tight. People want value for money. Everyone go back to a C4. Everyone go back to an Ego Twist, and you will know what battery is. We're spoilt now. And unless you're using an 18350, if you're getting through more than 2-3 batteries a day, oh no, I'm being harsh now.
Oh, yeah.
What they need to do is they need to turn Ego batteries into USB chargeables with a pass-through, and suddenly they become a lot more usable again.
All of a sudden you get dickheads plugging them into the computer. You used to get. All right, I don't get this, because the first that you said, oh, you've now got suck-activated mods. My very first mod that I bought, the very first Cigalite that I used was suck-activated.
Yeah,
it got a pressure switch. It turned on when you sucked on it. So
isn't that kind of the idea?
Choose your way, Chandler.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you. If we'd have had pod systems 6 years ago, where might we be now?
We wouldn't be sitting where we're sitting right now. We wouldn't be having this conversation for a start, because predominantly either the pods would be owned by A, farmer, or B, it'd be big tobacco. That'd be the bottom line to it. You've pissed Mark off now, so he's got a mech mod out.
Bro, Klaus, bro.
Yeah. See, look, he's gone. He's gone. He's just in a.
I love the way it screws with your lighting when you vape with that, Mark. It's fabulous.
Oh, look. I sit here and I've probably got God knows how many devices on my table. Most of them are multiple battery mods. They're all regulated. But the biggest changes that I've seen are probably two things. The quality of machining has come from one type level to like next level machining. Airflow is another thing on specific tanks. and the way the tanks are put together. They're not leaking anywhere near as much as they did 5 and 6 years ago. That's another big thing that you've got to put into play. Battery technology, that's massive. And then pods. There were pod style systems around 5 and 6 years ago. They weren't popular simply because the technology wasn't there to make them run efficiently. The coil technology wasn't there to make them run efficiently. The metals used in the coils was not really looked at. It
Production
wasn't until
quality's
people.
increased.
Yeah, well, correct, 100%. But again, no one was looking at using nichrome 80, nichrome 90, really high grades of stainless instead of 304. Then they went 316, 317, and then if you're looking to the ultimate is like 330. But that's for specific temp control. Then you have titanium that was used specifically for temp control. I'm glad to see the end of nickel, but it's starting to appear again in some of these crappy systems.
But
You know,
but it's
knock
never
on-
been
knock
taken
on
out of the
pods.
software, has it? That has always
No,
been there in the software.
Correct. And I don't understand. Are they using nickel as a baseline when they're programming? Is that the baseline that they're working with? That's the question that no one's answered for me. No one can answer. Phil
People
Basato, if you're
options.
listening,
People
I need.
options.
But Phil Basato, if you're listening, I need your help. Come on, tell me why.
Oh dear.
Who didn't answer the question? Have we all answered?
That'd be me, I suppose.
Go on then.
Well, if we're looking at mod specific, yeah, battery life it's got to be the battery technology for a mod. I'd like to see temp control disappear. Like you said, temp control. What? Why? It never worked, and everyone seems to go back to oh yeah, let's play with temp control for a bit, and then it was
Just so overly complicated.
To me, it's like temp control is like 3D TVs of the vaping world. It's like it's a novelty value.
Yeah.
It's like you use it once, you're like, fucking hell, you see that arrow, it nearly flew at my head, but then you're like, it's old now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this. This mod, the Danny box, is known for being really, really good at temperature control. And I thought, I might have a crack at that. And I went through had a read through the instructions, all the different pissing settings you've got to fuck around with, changing the resistance and locking it all in. You can set the resistance for specific wire. I'm like, fuck that. I'm just going to use my wattage mode because it works.
Yeah.
What's the point in pissing around doing all of that and getting a vape that's almost but not quite as good as wattage mode?
Well, when you can just go, 19 watts, done.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like what the only benefit that I've ever had from temp control is that you don't get burnt hit when you're running out of juice. And at that point, you just refill your tank.
I've just realised that we've got a lot of chat going on the YouTube channel. For those of you watching on YouTube, our apologies. We primarily stream on Twitch now. So, Bruni, apologies.
That's all right. I'm watching the chat
Yeah.
over there as well.
Paul's got that.
We've upgraded now, Paul.
Really?
To Twitch, yeah.
So, Paul.
Well, put me in the TARDIS and I'll fix it.
So, Paul, as it stands, and obviously you're being dragged into a lot of conversations in the media, whether it be social media, whether it be TV, whether it be radio. Where do you see? Let's take the industry. 12 months from now. Where do you see the industry sitting? What impact is the industry going to have on vaping?
for a start, in the United States, there needs to be a hard reset. There needs to be governors of the different states voted out of office. That's for a start. Throughout Europe, I don't think there's going to be much change for the time being. I'd like to see a few of the laws relaxed or changed somewhat. There's always ways and means to get around to get what you need in the UK and under TPD restriction. The only thing that I see right now is the market opening up in both the Philippines and the UAE, since the UAE have now said, well, let's go.
And that's going to be exciting.
Well, you've just got to look at it. You've got to look at the amount of smokers over there that you can convert to the vape space. That's for a start. Philippines, if they could actually get their stuff together in the right way, that could be another booming marketplace. I would like to see an international vaping alliance put together so everyone was on the same page, the same playing field. We're all working with the same thing. So there's like one set of rules for the world for one industry. They've got that with the tobacco industry. There's standards. If we had the same standards in vaping, it'd be completely different. It'd be a completely different workspace to actually work in. You wouldn't have to be doing one deal for one country and another deal for another.
So
it'd be the same playing. Yeah.
So a universal set of rules, regulations, legislation.
Yeah. And we know who's going to throw a spanner into the works in that, and that's going to be the WHO. There's a couple of leaked documents that have just appeared on my desktop from the WHO regarding their idea of trying to stamp out or trying to ban the vape technology in whichever country they can, which that's corruption at work. Simple.
What's amazing?
There's no other way to put it.
What's amazing is that we've got all these different countries doing all these different scientific tests and research studies, and they're all coming out with such wildly different results. And surely the results are just down to how much they've been paid by someone who doesn't want the proper results.
We need independence.
I mean, yeah, like truly independence.
Okay, in saying that, you're referring to studies. Some of them are actually peer studies that are paid for. Mm-hmm. Some of them are government studies that the governments are paying for. And then on top of that, you have the completely independent studies. They're the ones that you want to actually read. The ones that are being put out by government, you got to filter through them. The ones that are being put out peer-to-peer, or the ones that are being paid for by specific organisations to get their point across, you have a problem. They're the ones that you don't want to read. That's all the junk science. If you could get that out of the marketplace, you would change a few people, ministers around the world, presidents, dictators, whoever you want to talk about. But yeah, you would change.
But quite a lot of the research, it's how it's interpreted. So there have been reports, obviously, with the popcorn lung.
Oh no!
I'm not. What's the bloody stuff that? Anyway,
flashback.
Yeah, but you've had these reports that say, oh, we found these diacetals. There you go. You found diacetals in vape products. Ergo, vape products are going to do this. So scientists have latched, or people have latched onto it's got this in it. Whereas what you need to look at is it's got this in it, but compare this to a cigarette, and that's going to do nothing. That's the one that's going to, it's dosage, isn't it? So it's interpretation of the results that is often twisted. So you can have the same set of results, and you can have the Royal College of Physicians looking at these results, vaping is 95% better for you than smoking. And someone else will look at those results and go, oh my God, vaping's got blah, 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 therefore it's going to kill you.
See, that's the thing. Vaping has got an average of a daily dose of 9 micrograms.
Yeah.
Right? But with cigarettes, it's like 6,500 micrograms. Take diacetyl out of cigarettes then. Take it out of beer. Take it out of coffee. Take it out of everything.
Yeah.
Don't just pick on us. Anyway, diacetyl's old news, isn't it? It's, you know.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, when last time you heard popcorn long being brought into the news, because it isn't anymore. They've moved on to this THC crap.
But it was like, for example, the Royal College of Physicians, when they went through it and they went, yes, there are these chemicals in vaping. However, you are likely to inhale more of these compounds and the chemicals just by taking a big lungful of city air than you are from using a vape. But people have latched on to the fact that it's in there. It's not. They're not interpreting the results as they should.
That's a fair point, but you also have laymen reading scientific reports and trying to dissect what these reports are. That's the other issue that no one is ever talking about. If you have a layman dissecting a medical report or a scientific report, they don't have any understanding. So, okay, Google's my friend. They go and put a name into Google and they come up with the weirdest and wonkiest answer for said topic. Right? That's another issue that no one talks about. But then, yes, I do come from a chemistry background. I do understand a lot of these reports, and if, for argument's sake, you know, everything was ultra clean in this world, we wouldn't be having problems. And Mark was on the right pathway there in saying that, you know, there's X amount of micrograms. X amount of micrograms in the vape space in comparison to combustibles. So, no. It's a hard road until you get the idiots out of reading the reports and you have proper, well managed, you know, doctors and scientific staff breaking it down into layman's terms for the governing bodies. That's when you will get the proper answers, but not until then. Simple.
I was going to say something that's completely gone out of my head. I've just completely lost my train of thought off the back of that.
We have naturally come to an end this evening. We do have Paul returning. We do have Paul returning to us over the next week or so. I mentioned earlier this evening that we've got an exciting show up and coming. We're not going to release too many details until we've at least recorded the show. But no, I'm pretty sure it's not the last we'll see of Paul. Paul, you know, is a supporter of the show, and you know, we respect Paul's opinion. And Paul is one of my go-tos for a lot of things within the industry. And how many hours have we spent talking this week?
Yeah, but there's a lot of things that need to be spoken about privately.
Yeah.
If we were going to bring this stuff out on air, right, there'd be people running, you know, over the second story window and jumping out because they don't understand really what's going on. I work with some of the biggest advocates in the United States now, behind the scenes. I'm the go-to for them for a lot of information that doesn't generally get to see the light of day. I'm digging around in behind the scenes, looking for documentation of what's going on, what's coming down, and then there's things that need to be spoken about, but we'll leave that for another day. But all I can say is there could be some very interesting characters on the shows coming up. Put it that way, some very interesting characters.
Paul, just a final thought for you. You know how he says that, Faithful was to start with pod systems. Paul, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, go.
So say start with the pod. So Faithful would start with the pod systems. So just imagine how fucked up we would be because all we would be able to get was the THC and the opium cartridges. That's just my final thoughts here.
Okay, final.
And
final.
Next week we will do a double Instagram section because I know Chandler's been waiting on, but we have run out of time.
I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. I can save it for next week.
I'm going to put a Hangouts link in the YouTube chat and also the Twitch chat. If anyone wants to pop in and have a serious conversation, no tits, no shits, no giggles, serious conversation. Feel free to join us. I'll be on for a little while. Paul's getting his tits ready. I'm gonna pop the chat in, put the link to chat and some of us. Paul, are you gonna be able to join us for a little while?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Fantastic. Hopefully,
I might actually show the picture that I found on Instagram that we actually thought probably would not go on air.
As if Badger just timed out, did he?
Paul, what did he do?
He said substitute Instagram for the news.
I love it. I like that one.
Cracking.
Oh dear.
Thank you.
I love the way that Badger's supporting you there, Kaz.
I know.
There you go.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us. We may well see you before next. Oh no, we will see you Friday. Are we all here Friday?
I'm here Friday.
All here Friday.
Quite possibly.
We're all here Friday, and maybe we will see you.
Hey.
We maybe see you in between then and next Tuesday for something exciting, sexy, and wonderful. Thank you very much for joining us, motherfuckers. We will see you next time. Bye bye.
VTUK.